Okay, it's 1:18 a.m., 26th day of December 2015. I said in my other video that I was going to address the fact that there aren't enough multicultural roles. There also aren't enough multicultural scripts. Now, the thing about making movies, and this is why I support independent films like a lot. I watch them whenever I can on IFC. I don't know if the channel still exists, but I used to watch them on IFC for sure, and the Sundance channel. But the thing is, as a person of multiculturalness or multi-ethnic, whatever you want to call it, if you take a good look at my left arm, you can see the color difference. And the only difference is that it's not brown up there because I don't really wear short sleeves, long sleeve shirts, whatever. So let's talk about why there aren't enough multicultural roles. In my opinion, and I have to address it as my opinion because that's what it is. I can't prove it to be fact, but in my opinion, there hasn't really been, outside of The Rock, anybody willing to make movies with a person who has two ethnic backgrounds. When he did Walking Tall, he had a white mom and a black daddy. It's not that they haven't seen that before, it's just that most people weren't willing to bank on that. And the thing about making movies, they want you to be bankable. Alright? So, if Tiger Woods starts acting tomorrow, okay, that makes two. But the thing is, how will you write the script? What would he be? I've got that covered because all my scripts, the main hero, myself, is multicultural. Now, since I only have two heritages that I'm really familiar with, and I guess you really can't say anything bad about white people other than it would be just normal. Where, like, if you have like an ethnic heritage, like Native American stuff, you know, there's a lot more going on in those tribes than, what be going on in a normal person who has a white parent. And the same thing with the black family. There's a lot more going on in a black household than a person who has two of the same colored parents. Now, if you both your parents are black, and they're like not mixed black, but just black, then they might just be from Africa or whatever, trying to sound as less racist as possible. Then you can easily write in a black person to play an African, or you can easily write in a black person to play a full black family and have a Cosby type area. But where I grew up at, my mom is a career nurse, was a career nurse. My dad drove trucks. They've been divorced since I was 6. We didn't have a two-income home. He had to pay child support, but he lived like 3 cities and 3 hours away. I guess you can call it 3 cities. It was definitely 3 hours away because you had to go through Richmond and Hopewell, and you wound up in Smithville. So Charlottesville, Richmond, Hopewell, Smithville. So it's basically 3 cities. I live in this city. He lives 3 cities away. And he did his part, and it worked out. But since my mom is mixed and looks white, my dad is mixed and looks black. They both got Native American in them, and I'm fucked up. All right, I'm funny looking. So as I address this thing, there's not many people willing to write multicultural scripts because racism is such a soft and poetic subject. In my script for Dragon's Breath, initially I did have all the racial slurs that I grew up with directed at me in the script because I'm used to it and it doesn't really hurt my feelings. But it should make people more aware that there are kids like me out there where your dad is black and your mom is Chinese and you look like the two of them, but your eyes might be more like this instead of like this. Where being that I'm part Native American, my eyes kind of slant a little bit. They mostly slant when I smile, so I don't do a lot of that. All right, I've been almost every racial insult or slur under the sun due to the fact that most people don't fucking know what I am. So when I address this thing about why there aren't enough multicultural movies, there's not enough movies like that have to deal with Samoan stuff. There's not enough movies that have to deal with Cherokee or Native American stuff. I say Cherokee because I'm part Cherokee. I could say Apache, but I'm not Apache, so I don't really have that much on them up here. I do know about like guardians like Coyote and the Deer Woman and those things, but no one has really sat down and decided, let's make a movie. We have this person, be a boy, be a girl, doesn't matter, but one parent is black, one parent is not. I would love to have a movie where I have a Chinese dad and I have a black mom. It's an unusual couple. It can happen. I have seen this couple before. You know, it's not something that they should be ashamed of, but I've seen this couple before. Granted, I was in Canada, but hey, man, it happens. You can't help who you fall in love with, but you can teach your child to be more accepting and receptive to other people's feelings and shit. You know what I mean? You get where I'm driving? Alright, because don't make me slam on the brakes on you. Now, in my scripts, that's what my character has. One of my parents is always black, and one of them is always either Native American or of some Asian ethnicity. I've touched on this Asian thing before, because Native Americans are Asian. Whether we want to accept that or not, there it is. I didn't accept it until it was proven to me. So once it's been proven to me, hey, I have Asian in me now. I've always had it. I've just never known, because somewhere between the 5th grade and high school, I forgot about the Barron Strait land bridge. All right, out of my system, good. So all my scripts, the Oath, I've written so many of them. All of them have a major character who's multi-ethnic, and then I have other characters who are biracial. And why do I have this? Because it's all I know. I've never really been black after like the 2nd grade, because I didn't know. But once I found out, it was like a whole new world opened up, and I couldn't go backwards. In the 3rd or 4th grade at Berlin Moran, when we had that fucking race war, it was like, this is ridiculous. And then I had black people, like I said, whose side are you fighting on? You're gonna be with one of us, you're gonna be with them. And then as easy as that like came out, it turned from bad to worse, because some of my black friends would be like, you can't fight on our side because you're not a real nigger. You're a half nigger. Boy, were we all in a big fucking trouble when I got into the 5th grade and found out that not only am I a honky and a nigger, I'm also a chief. Awesome. And yes, I did just use those racial slurs to make a statement and a point. We are racially sensitive. And the fact of the matter is, we're going to stay racially sensitive because no one wants to address that shit. Simple as that. And you can't address it if you don't make movies about it. There was a good movie. Brooke Shields was in it. It was called Black and White. It had, damn it, Judd Nelson, the guy that voiced Rodimus Prime for Transformers, the cartoon movie. Good guy, that kind of thing. And they addressed it, the racial side of it. But no one addresses, like, the harmony of coming out of a multicultural home, of knowing your heritage, of knowing that your dad's black and your mom's white, and this is how your dad views shit, and this is how your mom views shit, and you have to slide down the middle, well, whoop-de-fucking-do. I came from a house where, hell, up until the 5th grade, I just thought I was black. Know what I'm saying? I learned in kindergarten that black superheroes couldn't fly. I learned really bad things about Indians until I found out that I was one of them. Because every cowboy movie I ever watched as a kid, there were black cowboys and there were white cowboys, and they were killing the Indians. And I cheered it on because I didn't know I was part Indian. Just thought I was black. Yeah, kill those guys. Yeah, scalp them. Okay. Now that I know that those guys were scalping people that very well could have been my fucking ancestors, I'm like, wow, I feel like such a fucking bigot and a traitor. Now, like I said, I didn't find this out till the 5th grade. So prior to that, I just thought I was black. And I never seen my mom's skin color any different than mine. Except for this here, when she was this here. Alright? So, you know, you don't think about shit like that when you're a kid. You really don't. So when I started writing these scripts about multiculturalness is because, up until my great grandmother passed, because I never really paid attention to the fact that she wasn't black. I just seen my great grandma. It's like my mother's mother. Never paid attention to the fact that she's not black. It's just, that's grandma. Hey, it is what it is. And most kids don't do that until you're taught it. And sometimes you can be taught it for a good reason, and sometimes you can be taught it for the wrong reasons. So as I'm addressing this, I'm proud of the 3 heritages that I have most of the time until the following shit happens. Someone black goes into the store last week and steals something. So when I go into the store detective decides, hey, uh-oh. The store detectives decide, hey, I don't know what just happened, but it went blank for a minute. The store detectives decide that I'm gonna follow you around. That's right. You fit the fucking description of that black guy that stole that shit from our store last week. And not only did he steal the shit from the store, but he's cost us to have to pay 25% more than what we had to pay because they have to make up for the profit that this jackass fucked us over. Okay? Now, I've never gone into a store after a white person has stole something and have the store detectives follow me around and say, we're going to follow you around because this white guy stole something last week. Because usually, if a white person steals something from a store, it's rarely reported. Or if it is reported, they come up with a honest reason for that to have happened. Alright, what's the damn difference? Skin color? Everybody stealing is wrong, period, because when you steal, you make us pay more. So then we have to try to find a way to come up with extra money to pay that 25% that you fucked us over with. Because instead of getting a job, you decided to take the easy way out and fuck everybody else in their wallets. Okay, got that out my system. So that's about the only 2 times that I really hate my black heritage or my white heritage. As far as my Native American heritage, well, hell. Most of the things that you hear about, if it comes off the resi, was, oh, they were alcoholics. Oh, they're in a gang. Oh, somebody did something stupid and, it rarely gets back to society. Every now and again you get lucky, but most of the time you never really hear too much about it. Because most of the things, it's kind of like Vegas. What happens on the resi stays on the resi. And then since the resi has their own police forces and stuff to procreate excuse me, that's not the right word, but you know what I meant, to protect and serve and monitor their reservation, is not so much you can really do or say about it. You know what I mean? It's just one of those things that just happens. So then I hate my Native American side. But from the youngest of age, I never knew any of this stuff. But once I found out I was part Native American, I really hated myself for a minute because I used to want to be a cowboy. Switching gears, the best cartoon ever that fits me was Brave Star, because they took a cowboy, but they made him a Native American, and they put him on a planet called New Texas. Awesome. I would love to play that guy. But I would also love to dye my hair blonde and play Ren from Pirates of Darkwater too. But I don't think they're ever going to make movies. But Hanna-Barbera, if you're listening, before I become 45, I like to make that movie. So, and I need a job. Now, back to the multicultural scripts. Ren from Hanna-Barbera and Octopon. He was brown, had blonde hair. His dad was brown, but you never seen his mother because she passed when he was a kid. But it was a good show with a strong lead of color. But they also weren't on Earth. So, everybody was a different color on Octopon. The eyes was kind of gray. Needle was the red monkey wing thingy. And Tula was sexy as hell and she was tan. Enough said? Enough said. But the thing with that is that no one is really willing to address this. It doesn't have to be an action movie. It could be a drama. It could be a comedy. It could be anything. But that lead character has two parents of two different backgrounds. And you can put them in fucked up situations, which is what I did in my stuff. I didn't make it funny, though. I made it more kung fu based. But if I was a funny writer, I'd be like, all right, here's the situation. My dad's Chinese. My mom's black. So my dad passes away, and now I have to fight his family over his body being buried in China or being buried in America. So when we go over there and I meet my grandfather, and he's old Chinese, he doesn't speak English, and he hates America. No, because we took his son, one of his sons, probably his favorite son, and he's like, so, you're the son of my son, you bastard. But I'm no bastard. Your son married my mother. So, a mom, being black, and being a person who speaks Chinese, talks to him, and they're always arguing back and forth. And me being the dumb fuck kid that I am, I'm like, okay, y'all talking about me? And mom will lie. No, son, we're not talking about you. Your grandfather's a dick. And she'll walk off. Because the thing with Chinese culture, first, most of them marry for life. And second, they don't really do a lot of disrespecting to the number one son's wife. I don't understand if that's 100% true, but from what I've been taught, there it is. Now, like I said, that could be wrong. You can Google it and explore that, whatever. But I think it might have no weight if she's not of Asian descent. It might not have any weight. So, you can put them in that situation. Now, being that I had some Vietnamese friends and their culture and of Dutch children and all that crap, I could play a Dutch child. And the thing about that is, American GI goes over there, either rapes a woman or she willingly gives it to him and she gets pregnant thinking that that's her way out of the country. And he goes, fuck you, bitch, I'm gone. And then she's stuck with the kid. So then the kid has to go through all the trouble of being picked on and stuff like that. And, it happens. It's probably not written down anywhere, but it does happen. And, American GIs did do a lot of that in Vietnam and Korea. So, it does happen. But they don't make movies that address what happens to that kid as he's growing up, or as she's growing up, and through all the trials and tribulations of that. Watch a porn movie, you'll see. Anyway, addressing again, the thing is, if you have parents of two different ethnicities, you will be caught in the middle. You will be torn. You will not know which side you fucking actually identify with more. So you have to walk that thin line. Because, as a lot of Asian cultures, when your father says something, you don't ask questions. You do it. Where in black cultures, that need to rebel is kind of more in black than in Asian cultures. And the thing with Asian cultures, most of their kids respect their fucking parents. They might say shit under their breath, but they respect their fucking parents because they know in the long run, the parents are really trying to look out for them. Now, American, we do the same. We respect our parents, but we rebel like a motherfucker. Mom says go left. No, fuck that shit. I'm going right just to piss her the fuck off. We do it. And the thing is, no one really wants to accept it or acknowledge it. So like I said, that's why there's never enough roles of multicultural people. And I think it's more like I won't say a badge of shame, but a badge of fear. I think they don't make movies like that because they are afraid of the political blowback of, well, this movie had great potential, but, in the long run, it was about this guy whose mom was Chinese and his dad was black, and his dad left them over there making all black men look bad. Political blowback. That's basically what that is, But in the fucking reality of that, sometimes that has happened, and most of the time those GIs that didn't know they got the girl pregnant and find out, they do go back, whether they're black or white. They go back and look for their kid, man. They do. You might not believe it, but they do. And it's not a big majority. It's a minority of them. But most of the time, if you know you have a kid and you're one of those honest men who's a man, and you get this message from somebody like 30 years old, and you're like 65, like, dude, did you ever serve in Vietnam? I took a DNA test and it hit up with you. So either you are my uncle or you are my father. Would you be willing to come and meet me? Most of those old vets, they're off their ass and they're ready to go. Now, granted, they might have to tell their wives and shit. They got to get the truth out there. But they do go back and they look, yo, this could be my fucking kid. Before I met my wife, I had sex over in another country while I was at war. And if I got her pregnant, I got the right to know. And that kid has the right to know. But they don't make movies that address this shit because they are afraid of political blowback. I would make that movie. I would be that kid, because I've been that kid. I've been bullied because of the way I look. And like I said, there's not enough ethnic movies where you have a guy who's half this and half that. You don't get that, or a girl that's half this and half that. Most mixed girls look extremely sexy anyway. But they don't have movies where they make that journey and they have to come to America to find their parent, or the parent has to go over there to retrieve their child because the parent of that child that's over there has passed and it becomes a property of the state. So but they do make live documentaries about it every now and again. But a documentary's documentary. But most people don't really want to watch documentaries because they're kind of sad. But in the reality of it is that you make these movies for a reason, and these reasons are to open the eyes of everyone around them to what's going on in the world. And you have the right to know where you came from. Okay? So like I said, most of my scripts, the main character is multicultural. He's either of two or of three different backgrounds. In The Dragon's Breath, my dad was Chinese. My mother was Native American. Her father was Native American and her mother was black. So that way I had all three of them. But since she was the daughter of a chief, she stayed on the resi. I got off the resi because I got a free trip to college in this movie. And it will be coming. So to the Bowie sisters, Adrian Cow, God damn it, Philip, and what the hell is my main man name besides Lewis? The guy that battles me through the whole fucking movie. Why can't I remember his fucking name now? Damn it. I know you are. It's coming. So forgive me. I know it's been damn near 20 years, maybe 20 years, because I was like 27 and you guys were way younger than me. So, my first movie, it's going to be on my YouTube. It would have been out, but I sent it to the Millennium and they rejected me. So I'm sorry. I sent it to Sundance and they rejected me. So, I apologize for that. And, my contract's still binding. So if I ever make a second one, I'll have to buy you guys out. Or you'll have to come back and get it. And maybe we can actually have better fight scenes, that kind of thing. It still jazzes me up whenever I think about it. But I do have it, and I'm going to put it on YouTube. So you guys are going to be prepared for your kids if you had them and stuff. And by the way, N and V were both very, very beautiful young women. I really liked them. I really liked the older sister, but I thought that the younger sister and the older sister both would probably think that I was like the ugliest man on the planet. So I never went to try to talk to them outside of a business relationship. But if I would have took the chance to do that, I would have damn sure tried. But fear stopped me. I'm grown now. I'm sure they're happily married. I hope that they are. I hope they're having a successful career, whatever they studied at the UVA. And, I seen Lewis 2 years ago, and he's teaching karate, of course. But I can't get arrested making a kung fu movie unless I put him on my own YouTube site. Anyway, I jumped off track. I'm sorry. The whole thing is, they know that my character was from the reservation. His mom was the daughter of a chief. His mom's mom is black. And his dad is Chinese. So Adrian Cow was my half-brother. So when Dad passed... No, Dad wasn't. Dad didn't pass in that movie. The dad No, I don't think the dad's passed in any movies I've been in. Anyway, back on track. Adrian and I was rumbling. So we're blood brothers. We just have different mothers. And we're the same age because basically my dad married his mom and not my mom. My mom was a flash in the pan and I was born from that. And I had nothing, not a relationship with our father or anything. And so basically Adrian's character hated me just because I fucking existed. And the dad acknowledged me, but dad would never come see me because it was like that great shame thing. It's an Asian thing. If you're not Asian, you have no idea what the fuck I'm talking about. But anyway, both boys are the same age because dad was fucking at the same time, both moms. But he was married to Adrian's mom, and he was fucking my mom whenever he was wherever they met. Right. So years later, we've had this rumbling thing since we were kids because we met not knowing that he was my brother in kung fu tournaments after kung fu tournaments, and we always fought each other to a draw. And then it got to the point where he would whoop my ass, and this is just the backstory of it, until I got older and I would whoop his ass. But I had it rougher than he had it. But it was like a jealousy thing. The movie and the script that I wrote aren't exactly what I wanted, but it's all I could get at the time because I couldn't get the 14 people. I couldn't get the girl that talks like The Rock because at the last minute she decided that she wasn't going to do it, but she could do martial arts. But she also probably decided that she wasn't going to do it because I wasn't going to let her spring off the wall Captain America style like me. I don't ask people to do things that I can do because I used to be able to do some crazy ass shit. And basically, I was fearless. I didn't give a fuck. No, 27. Fuck on, man. Well, anyway, in closing this, I just wanted to address the fact that every script that I've ever written has been for me to be the star and for me to have a parent, whether it be my mother or my father. One of them would always be Asian, and one of them would always be black. If not Asian, and by Asian I extend that to Native American, Indian, uh, Filipino, Polynesian, the whole Asian community. And like I said 1,000 times, and I'll say it 1,000 more times, Native Americans, no matter what tribe you're from, you're Asian. So the red man is actually the yellow man. I'm sorry. It was proven to me by my Korean friend. Fucked me up for life, but, it is what it is. And so, you kind of have to accept it and deal with it. And if you don't accept it, I can't change your mind. But, my mind got changed when I read it on paper. Not everything you read is true, but, if you look at their eyes and you look at the other people's eyes, they're the same. They're really the same. Like I said, my eyes slightly slant a little bit too. It's not the camera angle, because Mac has the best camera. Okay, so in addressing that, I'm like, I know more Asian culture and Native American culture than even black culture. Because, the thing about black culture, not African culture, I have no fucking clue about African culture. But black American culture, it changes from family to family. Okay, I know that doesn't make sense to a lot of you, but it does. There are some cultures in black America that we all have, like roughhousing from the age of I can walk and talk until fucking forever. If I was still healthy, I would still be roughhousing with my nephews and shit. I'm not the healthy guy I used to be. Now, uh, some families have traditions where, you don't want your kid drinking, so you'll drink him until he gets sick, so he'll know this is what happens when you drink. Same thing with smoking. My dad made me eat a cigarette, so smoking's out. And, you know, every culture, especially in black culture, it changes from family to family, from family to family. Now, black cultures where one of your parents isn't exactly black, the culture's a hell of a lot different. You know, uh, my mom, she's never really strayed us away from Native American heritage, but she's never really driven us to it. And my father, exactly the fucking same. Exactly the fucking same. He's never strayed us away from his mother and her mother's Native American heritage. But he's never like, here, son, I'm gonna shove your ass on off and you're gonna learn this shit. Now, I can say this all heartedly because a couple of my Asian friends have told me it don't work like that when you're like an Asian person, like of like Chinese or Korean or Vietnamese or stuff like that, you will go to the CLC, the Chinese Learning Center. You will learn Chinese, whether you like it or not. And I think it works that way if you're Vietnamese or Korean. You will learn that language. You will learn it. Whether you like it or not, you will learn it. You don't have a choice. So I didn't get to go learn Cherokee because there is no Cherokee Learning Center. You know, Cherokee, if you want to learn Cherokee, you better find a Rosetta Stone. You know, because there's no Cherokee Learning Center. And my father and his mother and her mother, they would never really worry about it because they were living in the white man's world. So it's like, all right, my grandma Bay, she was a cook for white men in a hotel. All right, Bay Clara, Clara Bay, whatever the hell you want to call her. She's long gone, 2008, I think, and she died like in like one of the best years of my life. That was about the worst of it, is losing her. And then my grandmother's mother, Ada, Ada Wallace Ford, she passed when I was a little boy. I think I was like 6, 7, somewhere in there, maybe 8. I was really young. I wasn't 8. I was below 8. No, no, I might have been above 8. Might have been getting that mixed up with my grandfather on my mother's side, because him and my Uncle Doc died when I was 6 and when I was 8. But I know whenever the Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome came out, whatever year that was the year my grandma Ada died, and I missed her funeral, and I flipped out like I had nightmares about that shit, and I knew she was coming back to get me because I didn't go to her funeral. Don't ask, it was like some weird fucking shit. And I thought, because when I found that I was part Native American, I started reading out cultures and shit about them, so it was just really fucking awesome, and fear just really overtook me. So, you kind of remember shit like that. And Ada was a very interesting character. She would tell me about the schools, her and her brother, and the moccasins, and how they had to wear this shit, and they didn't have a bus to go to school. They had to cut through the woods, and everybody has that school story. I can't say my great grandmother lied about it. She's not here to defend it, and I would never call her a liar because I did my research. When they were having that separate but equal shit, Native Americans really kind of fucked. And it's the same thing. Like 2 years ago, when I found out that my ancestors and them weren't legal citizens in a country that they were born and raised and basically had for 1,000 years before the white man showed up, that they weren't legal citizens here until 1924. It's like, wow, that's kind of fucked up. It's like, weren't even allowed to move off the fucking reservation. You guys are going to live right here. That's right here. You're going to grow this maize, and you're going to share with us. You're going to help those black fellas over there grow cotton, because they're going to work for us. And as long as you stay over there, you won't be in those shackles and chains like those guys. Now, by the time she was born, things were a hell of a lot different, and they could get off the resi. But when I look back at this shit, I'm like just fucking blown away by this shit that I have learned about how this country has so much fucking sin. And then everybody's like, they're all racially sensitive. So hold on, buddy. My great grandmother was full-blooded Cherokee. We don't get anything. Anything. And this land was our land. Before the song came out, this land is your land, this land is our land, from the California to the New York Island, from the Redwood Forest to the Gulf Stream border. Before that song was written, my ancestors on my father and my mother's side rode these places, only to wind up on a hunk of dirt. So we can't make movies that address this shit where my father could be Native American and my mother could be black, and I can live in between going to the resi and living in the city. No, it's bullshit. There's a football player whose mother's Korean and his daddy was black. I don't know his name because I don't watch football, but I'm sure he can relate. So, like I said, my dad never pushed for me to learn Cherokee. But while my great-grandmother was alive, I would sit just like this, Indian style, across from her in her little chair, and listen to all her stories. And I loved them. I will say that she only said like one really bad thing about white people. She wasn't hateful towards them, but she only said one bad thing as far as I remember. And she said, you know what? If our ancestors would have been smart. So I guess it was kind of like a double negative or a double fuck, because It was a way of fucking our people and their people. And she's like, if our ancestors would have been smart, they would have swam out to sea and put holes in the boat so that the gunpowder couldn't be used. So I've always kept that. I haven't forgotten it, Ada. So, when I think about that shit, I'm like, damn, I kind of wish that would have happened because then I'd been full-blood Native American. Yeah, well, there's the joke on that. That didn't happen, so here we are. I'm multicultural. I'm proud of it. But I often wish that I was just Native American. I'm not going to lie about it. But however, being multicultural has its greatest fucking advantages because you have so much that you can give to the world from your cultures. Where if you just have one or two cultures, you kind of like go with the flow. And you don't really want to learn anything else. You kind of just want to go with the flow. So, on my mother's side and my father's side, they mostly just acknowledge the black heritage. They don't do anything Native American. They don't celebrate Native American stuff. I haven't Googled all the stuff and all, and I had recently found out that Native Americans finally have a month of their own. They don't have to share February with the Chinese and the blacks anymore, which is kind of fucked up because in grade school, Native American History, first week of February. Chinese New Year, from the second week of February to the end of February. And Black History Month, from the first day of February to the last day of February. 28 fucking days. 29 if you're lucky. So, coming to find out they give us November, and I'm like, this is a double fuck. Because I love Thanksgiving. I will say it's my favorite holiday. But the problem with that is, it's a catch-22. Being partially Native American, I'm like, hold on. I love Thanksgiving. And it was probably a good thing before the Pilgrims hit. But now it's more about how we save people who took the land. Like I said, double fuck. Okay, done with the insults and shit. I want to try to stay with the multiculturalness of why there isn't. And like I said, the political blowback. Well, we got Native Americans complaining that the story was too real. And that Mr. Williams, as good as his performance was, he didn't pull off the Native American thing very fucking well. And I'm like, okay, wait till I drop this bomb on you. I found out last year, before my surgery, and it kind of hurt my feelings a lot. Iron Eyes Cody. Yeah, crying Indian? Not an Indian. Yeah, not an Indian. I almost started crying when I found out. I was like, but he looked like an Indian. He played it so well. Some of the wrestlers that play Indians, not an Indian. Not even a drop of Indian blood. And that made me kind of upset. But you know what? Sometimes we don't always look like what we are, so there you go. I got over it real fast. But a lot of people don't know that Iron Eyes Cody was not a fucking Indian. But you know what? He represented. Much love to the late Iron Eyes Cody. But like I said, there's no reason why no one can make a movie where, outside of the political blowback, where the kid can have a parent of this color and a parent of that color and have him walk through the middle. I've walked this life all my life. I've walked this life. I'm still walking this life. I still have problems when I go apply for jobs and I check black. And they're like, are you sure you're black? My birth certificate says I'm black. The fact that I'm multicultural means nothing. On that application, if I lie, that gives you the right to fire me because this is a right to fire state. So yeah, black. Not other. Not white, not black, and Native American. Black. I had a person ask me if I was a Pacific Islander once when I applied for a job. I'm like, dude, I'm not Hawaiian. If I was Hawaiian, there's no fucking way in hell I would come live in Virginia. Okay? I don't like the cold. But I'm here. I was born and bred here. Probably die here. Not something I choose to do, but I'm never going to win the lottery. Okay? So let's accept that. The thing is, I strongly believe that if we make movies like this, not just my version of movies like that, because I'm not the only one. I'm sure there's more people like me out there than they're willing to admit to. But eyes tell it all. I'm not the only one, and I'm pretty sure that if they touch on these movies and if it's made correctly and they take their time making it, then it probably will be fine. And it would also be for kids like me to have a guideline in life so they can go through it. Because when I was growing up, up until Miss Conrad pointed out the fact that I was partially Native American, I never fucking knew. I never fucking knew. I just thought I was black. And got blessed because I had long curly hair. No, hey, gonna find out I was wrong. Shit happens. I also used to keep my hair short for that very reason, and because as a person of multicultural, most people know when you're mixed, you get that good hair. But the problem with that is you can't get those good cuts unless you get the white boy cuts. Yeah, couldn't afford that shit. But if I kept it close, it's still straight. It's not curly, and it was manageable. I wish I could find my high school photo when I was in ninth grade when I looked like Wolverine and they kept calling me Woody Woodpecker. Long story. Anyway, so I can hurry up and finish this because I'm almost at the 45 minute mark, and YouTube has that little time limit glitch. So I'm sitting there and I'm thinking to myself, how does this fucking happen? Well, the thing is, political blowback decides if movies, video games, and other forms of entertainment are actually going to happen. I'm sure you guys don't remember this game because it never got out. It was supposed to be a John Singleton game called Fear and Respect. It never got produced because of political blowback. It was supposed to be violent. It was like making black people look bad and all this other shit. But it was a game no different than fucking GTA and Saints Row. But it never got out. They'll probably say something to me about that. And you know what? I wanted the game. I was ready to reserve the game. So you know what? Freedom of speech. No. What are you gonna get? I'm a bum. I'm not working. Military's not paying me like talking about it. So you're not really gonna get anything if you sue me, except for a hard time, because you don't really have a relevance. It was in the magazine. It was in Game Informer, but they never said why they canceled the game. So it has to be political blowback. Of whatever violence. But have you checked out certain games these days? I mean, what the hell? Kids are getting more desensitized to violence anyway. So why can't you make a game or a movie or tell a story where the kid can have that? There have been books. Now I read this book, something to deal with like some Macintosh family. They had this guy whose dad was Chinese or his mom was Chinese and he was black and he was a bad guy. I'm sorry, he was a bad guy. And it was a pretty good book. Wish I could remember what it was. And the other book I read, just like I do remember, it's called Manchu. And that shit was pretty good. And I don't like to read, but those books, anything that involves like Asian cultures, man, yeah, I'm not gonna lie, it's my guilty pleasure. I'll read it. And it's kind of like um, somewhere along the line with Steve Harvey. I would guess it was a repeat because he said something about high karate. Now I'm 42, so I kind of remember it, and I kind of don't remember it, but I do remember Brute, and I remember Brute 33. So I don't know what happened to like the other 30 numbers or the other 32 numbers or whatever that's between Brute and Brute 33. Well, hey, I don't know. But I didn't mean to get off track, but that's where I got off because of that damn high karate crap. I remember it. It's kind of like old English, but anyway. And you can still buy it. I've seen it on the internet. So, back to what I was saying about the multiculturalness. There's no reason outside of political blowback. All you gotta do is find the right actors and tell a good story. I'm not saying, dude, he's got a Chinese mom and they gotta grow up in the fucking hood, because that does happen. There are hoods over in Asia too, probably rougher than our hoods. And I'm not saying, it's gotta be a cookie cutter story where dude has a Chinese dad, a black mom, and she bakes cinnamon rolls and stuff. It doesn't have to be like a sugary sweet. It can be one of those middle tales. It can be an action story. You just gotta find the right script, the right script writer, and the right team to make the movie. And it's gotta have a point to it, And kids like me who didn't have a hero growing up, Okay, most of the time. Bruce Lee was my hero, but Bruce Lee was dead by the time I was born. He died like 23 days before I was born or whatever. So, but he had a point. He wanted to give the world a hero, an Asian hero. Now, granted, in his country, in China, they had plenty of them because there's not a whole lot of actors in China that aren't Chinese or Asian, and most of their movies are like boom, bam, bang, and they're heroes and the stories and stuff like that. Where over here, we have been racist to movie actors being heroes that were not really truthfully white. Sorry, I'm just putting it out there. It's the truth. And then like certain actresses exploded on the set and they were black, but we've never really had a big Asian following or Native American following unless it was like uh, a Dances with Wolves type flick. And still, Dances with Wolves, he was white. And Last of the Mohicans, Daniel Day-Lewis, he was white. But they had one Mohican left, which he was like his stepson or whatever. And then, you rarely have anything except for until Into the West came out, there was like not a whole bunch of Native American hero stuff out. They haven't made a movie about Coyote the Trickster. They haven't made a movie about the Thunderbird. They haven't made a movie about the Dear Woman. They did an episode on like one of the Showtime shows. I think it was Twilight Zone or the Outer Limits. It was one of those shows. And they haven't really had a whole lot of Asian stuff until Into the Badlands came out. But prior to that, there was nothing. And there's been only one Asian who has touched the world on a TV show. No, not Kwai Chang Caine. I'm talking about Glenn from The Walking Dead. Everybody loves Glenn. He's Asian. The world is ready for Asian heroes. At least, let me rephrase that. America is ready for Asian heroes. So stop holding the fuck back. Let's do this shit. And the thing is, Glenn has had the biggest damn following from the moment he stepped foot on there. You know what I'm saying? And Into the Badlands is like blowing up, and it's like the shit. I would kill to be on there, but since my kung fu skills are now completely limited to no, James, the doctor said you can't do that anymore. Kind of a little hurt there. But I still want to do it. I just am not legally allowed to do it because the military is probably not going to fix my hip again. Okay, so I'm going to close out and say this to everybody. As a person of multicultural descent, it would do us all well to have a multicultural hero. The guy that can walk all three lines and have a decent life about it. So thank you. And these probably will come up sometime tomorrow. I'll put them up tomorrow, later today, because it's 2 o'clock now. And I need to carry my half-breed ass to sleep. So thank you guys, and good night.